And we are recording.
Live, and we're recording.
Well,
Let's let some people trickle in here, hopefully. Here, let me fucking zoom out a quick we're live fucking tweet while people kind of file in. What's going on, everybody? If you're watching, you should not be seeing us because you can't. So don't worry about that.
sweet.
Just the smooth of our voices.
Yeah.
How feel?
If anyone's out there on the airwaves, obviously, we're having some technical difficulties.
We might as well start with my tactical difficulties and let people filter in
Sure.
while the stream gets going.
Hopefully.
Basically, I have an Elgato capture card. Worked fine a couple weeks ago, the last time we casted. And since then, I haven't used it. I personally haven't streamed. I haven't opened up my program to do any sort of streaming activities. Literally nothing has changed. Today we went to get the camera to start capturing, and the capture card just not working. You know, it says there's an input coming in, and I'm getting a black feed from two cameras I tried. I tried two cameras, two HDMI cords. You know, so that's where we're at. You get to hear us and not see us today. We're going for it. We're gonna go for an hour or so here, and first topic we're gonna start with Martin Luther King. Today is his holiday, and his birthday was what, 2 days ago?
Yeah, his birthday's in January. I don't remember what day, but it's always the third Monday of January, right? It's always MLK Day.
Yep.
Yep.
So I thought this was I saw two tweets that I thought were good for perspective, especially for what's going on, right? This one says colored photos because this shit wasn't that fucking long ago. And it's MLK, and then it's like one of the marches. I don't know which one. It didn't say specifically, but
And it very much was not that long ago at all.
no, this would have been mid 60s, right?
Yeah.
He got assassinated in the 60s, so this might have been early 60s.
I mean, in my opinion, I think we're technically going through like the last since the 2016 election, especially. You could almost call this another civil rights movement. The way things have been going.
I'd agree.
Like,
I would agree. Yeah, this feels
history
like
repeats itself.
This feels like the second civil rights movement.
It is. It's in a different way, but it definitely is.
But the other tweet I saw, which I don't know, I didn't send this one. I just saw it actually like right at the end of the day at work or whatever. But it was like Betty White is 99.
Yeah.
And she's older than MLK and Anne Frank would have been.
Right.
Yep.
So they would have both been like 92 or 4 or something like that. MLK and Anne Frank are the same age.
If healthy,
sure.
they would have been alive.
Right, if they were alive, they'd be the same. So, like, that goes to show that it really was not that long ago that this was, going on. So I thought that was kind of a unique perspective, especially with everything that's going on in the country right now, that, especially today of all days, kind of a good place to start to remind people that, like, we're not that far off from where we were. And where we were, although much, much worse, doesn't feel that far off,
And like you say, much, much worse. I don't know if there's two mushes. Is it really only? I think it's only.
Well, what do you think, Kyle?
I think
Kyle's the resident black man of the group, so what do you think?
I think it's definitely much, much worse. I mean, honestly, it's going to sound terrible. Like, I joke all the time, like, I wish I could have went back in time. Like, I was talking to one of my coworkers the other day, and I was like, man, it would have been, like, really cool to, like, go back to, like, the 20s, like, early 1900s. And I was like, yeah, but I probably would have got lynched. Like,
yeah,
like realistically, like, it's actually scary to think, like.
Well, yeah, you want to talk
especially
about...
you, like, and if we're gonna go full race on this conversation, especially you being, half and half. I don't know what the politically correct term, like, mixed race.
Black. Yeah, being biracial.
Biracial, yes. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's you being biracial would even be worse back then.
Right.
Like.
Yeah. Hey, but
like you're good here. Like, you don't want to go back in time. And
no,
that's fucked.
That's the problem. Like, I would love to go back in time, but it would probably be. Not very good for
what's
me.
crazy, like, there's definitely certain parts of this country, like, let's say you went back to 1920s fucking Alabama,
right,
and you showed up in a time machine. Like, those motherfuckers would have been like, kill that black motherfucker that just showed up from the sky.
Oh yeah,
like,
for sure.
And it's mind blowing that it's better now, but it's not that much better
You
in
know
a
what
lot of
though?
places.
No.
In terms of being better, go to ESPN really quick. ESPN's Twitter. See if we can find this super fast. It was tweeted today, so hopefully we can. We do kind of suck at this. Go to the media. It's all media, but just scroll through it down. Wait, that might have been it. Go back up. Yeah, click that picture. The same campus my grandmother couldn't walk on is the same campus that houses the statue of her granddaughter. So this is Aja Wilson. She was an all-time great college basketball player, and she's now like an all-time great WNBA player. And they put a statue of her outside of their basketball arena, and this was her tweet today, I think, or her not her tweet, her statement today that got tweeted out. So like, it is better, but and I think it is much better because, like she said, her grandma couldn't have even gone to fucking the university she went to, and now they're honoring her with a statue, which is a big. I mean, a statue is a big deal, right?
Oh, definitely.
Statues mean reverence, which is I think that's the big argument against the Confederate statues is like they offer. It shows somebody that is revered in the community. So
Right.
I think that is kind of telling of. I don't know. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, I think about it all the time. I don't remember if I spoke on this before, but I was again talking with some coworkers about like, just the past, going back in time and whatnot, and I regret so much of like my relationship with my great grandma. She passed away when she was 99. I think she was like a month away from her 100th birthday.
Damn.
And it's just crazy. Like when I got older, I remember when I was like 18, I was thinking like, man, like all the questions that I could have asked her about, and just the fact like she lived through like the Great Depression and like the tail end of World War I, even like lived through all of World War II, like just saw so many moments in history, and like she was alive, like living it. It wasn't like, okay, like we opened the history books. And I think that has a lot to say for now, because with everything that's going on in history now, like with Donald Trump and like with this stuff in the Capitol recently happening, like that's going to go down in history books
Oh, definitely.
for sure.
Already
And like,
has.
Yeah.
exactly, like it's made waves. Like we're living that now. There's just so many parallels to the past and going forward
Yeah.
that it's honestly pretty mind-boggling when you really think about it.
That's kind of the unique. It's interesting because that's when they say like history repeats itself. That's
Yeah.
kind of how it happens, right? Like you lose the perspective of the people that lived through it, and then the people that didn't live through it relive it, right?
Exactly. Like
So-
it happens again.
Yeah.
And to give you, I mean, Kyle, you knew my grandma. Like,
Yeah.
her perspective on all of that was like, anytime you would ask her anything like that, she would just say like, well, we were always poor, so everything was always the same. I've always been poor, and
Right.
I was just poor. And I mean, like, she wasn't poor as she got older, like, especially because her children weren't poor, and like, she just lived however she wanted. But she lived in that same tiny little house that was smaller than this basement for 60 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, who knows how long? Maybe even longer than that. I don't know how old. But regardless, like,
I actually heard a lot of people say that though, like about the Great Depression, like obviously depending on who you talk to, but when brought up amongst, older generation, it's crazy because it's like a lot of people didn't have much in that time. So when the Great Depression hit, it's like it didn't really affect them
yeah,
Right.
because they didn't have much to begin with. So it's like, oh, it was just kind of like
the same.
business as usual.
Yeah,
Like they
that's what she said.
were
Like,
just trying to get by from the get-go.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
and what's crazy is that like there's not, I don't know, I hate to like beat the dead horse, but like for her that was always good enough, and like I just feel like that's just not good enough for
Yeah.
an American.
Well, I think
Right.
I think it's becoming more and more obvious that that's not good enough, just because there's so much afforded to us as far as information.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you were alive in the 50s or the 60s and you were dirt fucking broke, right, dirt poor, and you go, everyone's poor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But now, there's no hiding that not everybody's poor.
Yep.
Right.
So you go, well, what the fuck? Why am I poor? And, these people are so fucking wealthy they could buy entire countries.
Well, that's the thing too. Like, we live in the information age now.
Yes.
Like you said, like there's no hiding.
Nope.
Back then, it's like if you were poor in the area you lived in, everyone was the same, like social
Yep.
status as you.
Your neighbors were poor.
You didn't see that other side. Like you couldn't just go on the internet or turn on the TV and see all these people living in in luxury.
Yeah.
It just wasn't the case.
And like it went even further than that, right? Because then how did people get their information back then?
Right.
Newspapers.
Well, that and word of mouth.
Right.
It was all word of mouth, like stories passed on.
But think about how if you think about an echo chamber, right? Because that's kind of a big talking point, especially right now with everything that's going on.
Yeah.
Is that like people get caught in these echo chambers and then they only hear what they want to, right? So whether it's left, right, or whatever, you go, you get caught in hearing what you agree with because of how the systems work and on social media and the internet and blah, blah, blah.
I was going to say a perfect example is like Parler.
Right.
Like the people that go on Parler
Are
the ones that agree with everything that's on Parler.
But
like, that's why they would want to go on there.
If you think about echo chambers now, right?
Yeah.
You lived in an area and you were poor and all your neighbors were poor. And the guy that wrote the newspaper articles, he was fucking poor.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like everybody was living in the same plane of existence that was communicating on the same level. So there wasn't any sort of like escapism to like other.
Right.
Like that should be what's normal. It's like this is just if we're doing this, they are too over there, right? So
well, that's why there's so many old stories of like the vice versa, but like city slicker in like a little town like goes in the middle of nowhere and vice versa, as in like guy who lived in the middle of nowhere, like country boy, going to the big city,
right,
because that was the type of thing that would never happen back then.
Yeah.
Like you never had these moments of going into an area where, whoa, like this is all different. Like that's what the stories were always like. It's always finding something that you've never experienced before. And now I feel like it's almost hard to experience things new, genuinely new, because everything's at your fingertips.
Right.
Everything is at your fingertips.
Yeah.
It's honestly crazy. Like we live in the
is.
era of instant gratification in almost every way, shape, and form.
And like it's so funny because not only instant gratification, but like information era, or the epoch of information, however you want to classify it. It's
Right.
like it's so trivial, but you kind of almost take it for granted. You can even forget that it's possible. Like
how easy it is to just look something up.
Right.
At any time,
and
for any
like,
reason.
So I was with some people, and it was like we were talking about Harry Potter and the Quidditch rules.
Mhm.
Okay.
And it was like how the argument, the debate was if you catch the snitch in Quidditch,
Yeah.
it gives you 150 points and the game ends, but do you automatically win or do you not?
No.
And you don't automatically win.
No, it depends on the points.
Right.
Yes.
And so I was saying, what would the point of the points be? And so we were talking about that, and then like somebody was arguing that it was like, well, you win if you catch the snitch, and I was like,
not necessarily.
and then we were like, no, not necessarily,
Okay.
right? And so
you looked it up.
But yeah, we were going back and forth, and then I was like, this is so dumb.
Just look
let
that
me
shit up,
look.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like you can look and know instantly.
Well, that
and like
happens. That happens all the time.
But the issue with that is nowadays is that unfortunately, 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2 anymore.
Right.
yeah, half the time.
That's why I think. Let me start.
The Earth's flat.
Yeah. I think that.
Stop.
Well, I think that the 2000s to the 20 to 20, honestly, probably 2016, but maybe just to 2020, they'll classify as the information age. And then I think the next classification will be the disinformation age.
Are there
sure.
actually people that think the world is flat?
Yeah.
Yes.
They're, like
Like
you don't-
seriously?
Yeah.
Non-joking.
What?
They're not joking. They actually legitimately think the world is flat.
See, I like low key. Like I always thought that was like a joke.
No.
Like I thought it was a meme. Like I thought like the people that are supposedly flat earthers, I thought they were like trolling.
Like it started, as far as I know, most of these things started as jokes, and then like
Oh my
people are
gosh.
stupid enough to be like, oh wait, the Earth is flat,
I just don't.
and the government is lying,
I don't see
and
on what
there's lizard
leg
Okay,
you
wait,
would
wait.
people.
It's
stand
no, no,
on.
no. It's not that though. You're skipping a step. It doesn't start as a joke. It starts, okay, from what I've heard specifically about the flat Earth theory, right, or whatever, is that the idea started that you should seek out your own information and think critically about what's being told to you. And so the obvious one that people go to is everybody just assumed that the Earth is round, right? Because at some point somebody found that out, right?
Well, throughout
No, no one's assuming the Earth
No,
is
no, no. I'm not
round.
no,
saying they
all throughout
assumed it. I'm saying
history.
somebody figured out that the Earth was not flat, and
Yes,
then that became the generally accepted
That
science,
became like
right?
common practice.
Right. It's
Right.
it's and I'm obviously not arguing that that isn't the truth, but I'm saying people the way that the flat earth movement started is people saying, "Why are you just accepting the information that's given to you? How do we not know that that isn't true?"
Right.
That's how these are that's how conspiracy theories and how like these ludicrous nonlinear thinking
but what is
or
the blame for
originates.
this? Because
But then what happens is it gets convoluted where part of it is like what you said, people take it as a joke and people go, I'm a flat earther, blah, 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 blah. And then it gets stretched into people who actually believe the earth is
But
flat.
the issue is
And you know what I
the people
mean?
that
That's
actually believe that, because those
right.
people are just severely uneducated. So I
Correct.
guess that's the big issue.
Yeah. But that
Like,
I'm saying it doesn't, that's specifically the flat earth. That's the origin of it. I'm not saying that is how it started is people going like, well, why are we just accepting that somebody a long time ago decided that the earth is flat? How do you know that the earth isn't flat?
because
Right.
science.
Like, how do you know? What
From
have you done to prove that the earth is flat?
I've learned about it. I've learned about what
Right,
others
right.
have learned about
And that
to prove the fact that
and
it's
that
not
is
flat.
acceptable because we're not morons. But I'm saying to somebody that hears that, and if I pointed at somebody and they had a low IQ and I said, "How do you know that the Earth is not flat?" and
But
they
see,
went,
Hey,
this
I don't.
this just sounds like some shit Owen would troll
"Right,
about. Though.
right." I know. But
Exactly.
I'm trying to give you
No, I understand.
insight into
Yeah,
how
yeah.
how the mind works.
I
when somebody
get
goes-
it. I
It's
get
just-
it.
It's the exact same thing that happens when people
It's
talk about
hilarious.
conspiracies of 9/11, like all these things are very colder or
Hey,
cold sun theory, like all
I've
this
got a
stuff.
good one.
What?
Have you ever heard the conspiracy that the Grateful Dead Cornell show did not happen, and it's like a CIA like?
Wait, what
I'll
do you
try.
mean it
I'll try to
didn't
Google
happen?
it.
I'll keep talking while you're googling, but like but and then this is so it's a two-pronged thing, right? So they go, how do you know that this isn't true? And then how they get you to think, they go, well, people thought it was ridiculous that this wasn't true, and then it ended up being true, like Operation Paperclip or what, like anything that's like a ridiculous part of our history that people go, that seemed ridiculous and it actually happened. Why can't this seem ridiculous and it actually, you know what I mean? Like it's strategic. Disinformation is very strategic in how it gets implanted and kind of like grows and festers. And it's not by accident, right? Like the flat earth, whatever, it wasn't just a joke that sprung off. It was designed and then like spread.
Just took off.
Yeah, right.
Right.
And there's other ones. That's not the only one. There's a ton. There's a ton of them that are like
Oh
that.
yeah, I know.
And it's
It's
literally it is.
It's
And
mind-boggling.
it's funny that we're
man.
kind of going on. I don't even remember how we got here, but like it's what we're seeing with. Do you guys know? Let me go on this really quick. Do you guys know the Louis C.K. joke where he goes, "You would feel as strongly about abortion as the people protesting outside of the abortion clinic if you thought that they were murdering babies?" Like he has this whole bit about that idea where he's like, people feel strongly about it because it's something that invokes strong feeling, right?
It's
So like it makes sense that people feel strongly. You just don't feel strongly about it because you don't believe that's the like I'm not doing the funny part, but like that's his idea.
You just don't agree with
Right.
them, basically.
And so that's exactly what's going on with the people that stormed the Capitol, right? Is like, how strongly would you feel if you got convinced that the election was stolen?
Yeah.
In your democratic election, your voice had been disenfranchised and silenced. It's like, we know that to not be true, but somebody has now accepted that as their truth. And so when it becomes an accepted truth, then the passion, it evokes passion.
Wait, but do we know that's not true?
Yes.
I'm just checking.
We do.
Wait, I spaced out because I was reading that conspiracy theory about the Drake.
I'm just checking.
Did you find it? I was
Yeah,
filling time while you
find
were Googling it. You can go back to it, but.
I read this basically, and it says that.
Stop breathing in the mic.
It's so far away from my face.
No,
me.
Gears.
Oh, it says that basically the CIA took people for a mind control test, and
What?
they played like Grateful Dead shows to them as part of mind control experiments, and then there was 2 shows, and only the second show ever got released, and this show didn't actually happen. It was a CIA test.
That's wild.
And
where was that show supposedly?
Cornell.
Okay.
And
That's
this guy
crazy.
says there's a reason that it says it was at Cornell, legendary fake show, kept my silence. Who knows if all this shit is a joke? It probably is, and it most certainly is. There's a 99% chance that show happened. 99.99999% chance that show happened. But there's at least a lot of motherfuckers that now believe that this show didn't happen, and the CIA brainwashed a bunch of people with a Grateful Dead mind control experiment.
See, here's the thing. At the end of the day, when it comes to any of this stuff, I feel like it really just comes down to how fucking gullible you are. How easily swayed you are depending on, and this goes back to what Gear said, but it's how easily swayed you are on how strongly you feel about certain topics. So it's like,
yes,
if Donley, perfect example, when you came over to get my PC built, and I had you going in the car about the graphics cards.
Yeah, you got my ass. That's a good story. You should tell that story.
Okay, so I will preface this. I recently got a PC built. I ordered all the parts. It's a long time coming, and I'm enjoying it a lot. But to get to the point, I had to go run and pick up some power strips and whatnot. I forgot them at work, and I was going to go meet a coworker. He was going to drop them off to me. So Donnelly picked me up, and we ran up the street to meet him down the street from his house or whatever. He was going to just hand me the stuff, the bag with all the power strips and extension cords and everything I needed. And while we're on our way there, I'm like, dude, Donnelly, I found this guy. And he had.
Hey, so he didn't tell me what we were going to do. I got to his house, and I thought we were going to start building his PC. He's like, dude, we gotta make a quick trip. He's like, just you drive. We're going to Family Video. It's right down the street.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, fuck it. And I was like, what the fuck are we getting? Continue.
So we get in the car, and we're on the way. I'm like, dude, you're not gonna believe this. I found a guy who has. Didn't I say 3080s?
Yes.
I was like, he has 3080s, and
you told me he had 12 of them.
Yeah, and if for the people that don't know, NVIDIA RTX 3080s are their newest cards. Yeah, they're impossible to get. They're NVIDIA's newest graphics cards. They're impossible to find.
For the record, they retail for about $1,200.
Yes,
but scalpers are charging double, if not more than that right now. For them.
Yeah, if you want a 3080, it's $2,000. But long story short, I told him that the guy had 12 of them, and he would sell me, what did I say, one for $700?
You said that he had 12 of them, and he spun out it wasn't this simple, because I'm not that gullible. You spun out this fucking story. You were like, dude, this guy is fucking over backwards. He's pissed off about these fucking graphics cards.
I was like, he bought way too many. No one's buying them because no one believes him. Yeah.
Yes, all that.
I was like, no one believes that he has these. And I
He was
confirmed
pissed
and
off. He's trying to get
confirmed-
fucking rid of him.
Yeah.
And
So
he said, you told me that he was flipping them for 700, and I was
Yeah.
like, dude, text him right now and say you want 2 for 1,200.
Yeah.
I was like, I want one.
he's like, I need one. Like Donnelly started like sweating.
I was fucking.
He was
like-
ready to go. But the moral of the story for the people listening is that the only reason that I got him to believe what I was saying is because I knew it was on a topic that I wouldn't have to try very hard to get him reeled in. Like, as soon as I was going to say, like, 3080s for a good price.
Hey, because the thing is, you had already found 2 graphics cards at a decent price.
Right. Well,
and, like, knowing you
one
have
was
the
decent,
talents.
one not so decent.
But, like, out of anybody in the world that I personally know, this could happen to you. And if it would have been happening, it would have just been like that lucky day moment that I was ready for to happen.
I could have
like,
swung it. I could have swung it.
It was like the universe was lining up. I was like, holy fuck, Kyle finally found like the score of all
I found
scores.
the holy grail. But yeah, long story short, the only
we
thing
went
that
to get power cords.
Yeah, exactly. We went to get power strips and fucking surge protectors. But yeah, long story short, all it takes people to get convinced on a topic is if they are super, super, super into it, and if they feel strongly about it.
Yes.
So let's
also
wrap that into this.
Yeah, because another part of it too, which goes kind of in tandem with the echo chamber thing, is if somebody you trust, right, tells you something, you're inclined to believe them because you trust them about other things, but you don't know where, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know where they got their shit from.
Exactly.
So you go, well, like, if I said something to you guys, and you're both good critical thinkers, but if I said something that was like, you know, like okay.
But you're a bad example because I immediately
if I just said,
disagree with
okay, but
everything
here,
you say.
if I just said, when I just said, go to ESPN and look up that tweet,
Yeah.
and it took us a second to find it, I was like, it got tweeted today. And you guys would have been like, it must have got tweeted today. And then if I was like, oh, it's probably on Sports Center, you would have been like, oh, okay. Like, but you guys trust that I'm not just like making up the fact that got tweeted out today. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
just a very mundane example, but I'm saying like you take things at face value a lot of the times from people that you surround yourself with or are in the same circle as.
Exactly.
And so it's very, very easy for somebody to, like you know, obviously we bust each other's balls and like we fuck with each other and try to pull each other's legs. But I'm saying like the reason it works, right, is because we have that like trust
Well,
in
it's,
our inner.
it's the relationship that you have
exactly.
with these people.
Yeah.
Like,
So like that's how it works. But it's the exact same thing. How many people do you think were at the Capitol doing this shit that didn't know at least one other motherfucker at the Capitol?
Oh,
So
no,
that's
they
the
probably did
transition.
for
Now,
sure.
Yeah.
now we're going to talk
No,
about this.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, we've already basically been talking about it, just kind of beating around the bush on it.
let's
because
let's
let's
get
go
into this
into it
capital.
like more deep.
Let's
But,
get into this
yeah.
capital. So
So this happened, actually,
Yes.
this happened last Monday.
Last Wednesday.
was it?
2 Wednesdays ago.
No, the 6th. Yeah. So we haven't talked about it since it happened.
Right.
Basically, we haven't been.
We
on-
would have
we haven't
talked
been live
about it like
last
the
week.
Monday after, but
Right.
it happened 2 days after our last cast.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we were like, we haven't
yeah,
had the chance
6th.
to get to it, but
So
it's
what
still
are you guys?
pertinent. It's the only thing that matters right now outside of like the other
Like,
things.
I'm
that
just gonna
matter.
open this image up because this is the
Yeah.
perfect.
Alright.
This is the perfect image to summarize the whole fucking
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. I told you, Hey, I told you, motherfuckers.
Relax.
I fucking said. I
Relax.
said, don't say that 2021 can't be worse. I said it
Unfortunately,
can
it's
fucking
cut
get
off here. I don't
worse.
know if
Alright,
I can
look.
fix this. I can't.
And I was fucking right.
I have
I
a
wanna
crop too
know
goofy. It says in
right now.
2020, wow, I hope next year is better. January 2021
Yeah.
this. It's
What
cut
are
off
you
on
guys'
our
opinions on
viewpoint here.
this? Straight up, like just hot takes
Yeah.
on the Capitol riot / protest.
I've got two
Protesting
takes.
quotes.
Jesus, that is terrible. I've got 2 takes.
Yeah, it's no good.
First take,
Okay.
and that's why I tweeted or I sent in the Discord to you guys. I said, if somebody could find this tweet, I'd love it. The tweet was sent out, and it basically said, I'm starting to think it wouldn't actually be that difficult to steal the Declaration of Independence.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But in that vein, what I think is really interesting is that I think this can they hear?
They can, yeah.
Okay. So I think that it's really, really interesting that like I think that this incident kind of showed the value that the Second Amendment holds
Sorry, I was testing again.
against a tyrannical government, right?
Right.
Because, and this is my thought process.
See, but here's the devil's advocate on that. I feel like the only people that really advocate for the Second Amendment and practice it and are wide own, I would say 90% of gun owners are Trumpers.
I don't think that's true.
You don't think so?
I don't think so
No.
necessarily.
I think that gun ownership, in my opinion, gun ownership is probably of all of like if you were to do like the big 10, right? Where it was like,
See, I don't want to make this a gun issue.
no,
That's-
I'm not making it a gun issue. I'm saying I think it's a pretty central.
I think. Go ahead.
People on the left are probably
Because I
That is
like
probably the
guns, and I'm
most-
very, very
right,
whatever you want to call
and me too. And I think that's, especially in America, I think that's very, very common. I think that the gun issue is the thing that people swing the other direction on the most. I think you're most likely to meet people who are left of center who still believe in gun rights.
I agree
Now,
with that.
and part
I
of being
agree with that.
part of being left though is I also understand that there can be sensible gun reform.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Like more restrictions on stuff.
More restrictions,
Absolutely.
a better database, better tracking, all that shit. But what I'm saying is the value to me in what the Second Amendment holds in the battle against tyranny, true tyranny, is we've got a multi-trillion-dollar defense budget, right? All the spending. We've got the Capitol Police and the National Guard are some of the most like oversaturated when it comes to like weapons and defense and all that stuff.
The most militarized.
Wait,
militarized,
real quick.
yeah.
Do you think we're allowed to watch this?
Why wouldn't we? Oh, yeah, fucking play it. Who cares?
All right, because
Fair use.
this I feel like this guy.
How long is it? 30 seconds?
45 seconds.
Yeah, we're fine.
Okay, so this guy, this was just poetic. This summed it up so well for me. Andy dropped an F-bomb on live TV. It was just absolutely perfect for me.
Yeah, play it.
And my God, if these insurrectionists were Muslim, they would have been sniped from the top of buildings. So I want to know from the Capitol Hill Police, what is it? Is it just white people? Or is it Donald Trump supporters? Why do you scream at people for walking across the street 3 blocks away from the Capitol? Why are you known as badasses around the Capitol? But then Trump supporters come in and you open the fucking doors for them.
Get him, Joe.
You
Get him,
open the
Joe.
doors for them and let them breach the people's house.
Tell him how you feel.
What is wrong with you?
Yeah, I mean,
But-
Tell them how you feel.
My point being, and that's true, but I'm saying, regardless of that, whether they were black or Muslim or whatever.
But
you
he's
go,
right.
He is. No, he absolutely is. In
that's
sense
the
that
big
this was-
issue here.
That this was planned and that this was obviously something that was going to happen. It was.
Did you guys see
it
the
was-
guy yesterday? Literally yesterday, I was so upset about this. He was standing outside. I tweeted about it. I don't have any footage or whatever, but it ties right into this. White guy standing outside the Michigan Capitol building, fucking armed to the
Oh
teeth.
yeah, you sent me that picture.
Armed to the fucking teeth.
I mean, he just had an AR.
He had an
around
AR, a
that.
handgun, bulletproof vest on, helmet, fucking knee pads.
Who knows how much
boots.
ammo?
Who knows how much ammo? Like, he was ready to go. Like, and who knows how trained he was? He was a National
Right.
Guard member.
But that's what I'm saying is like, imagine if you got this was choreographed, right? It was all over the internet. The president, which is the issue here, was telling people to do this, and they still were able to catch the Capitol Police off guard in the sense that they didn't, whether they didn't believe it was gonna happen or they didn't care or they were in on it, whatever. I'm saying, imagine if you had a group of people even smaller than this who were like, it's actually a tyrannical government and we're actually going to overthrow it. Imagine what damage they could have done.
Well,
if there was,
I have a quick question though, and I
Yeah.
want your guys' input.
I mean,
on this.
let's be clear really quick though. These were fucking dummies, right? The people that did this were purebred dummies.
Not
Stupid.
all of them.
But
A lot of them.
no, and see, that's the thing, not all of them.
The strong majority of the people that were doing this are dummies.
Or textbook
or
insane.
or
Or mentally ill, right? But you know what I
See,
mean. I'm generalizing.
listen. I want to play devil's advocate with this because, like, I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how I feel about all this. Like, I'm kind of torn. Like, I'm kind of in between on like exactly what went down, and I honestly feel like the media and the coverage of all this is just spinning it exactly the way they want it. Like,
Sure, of course.
but so here's the thing. Let me tell you this little backstory, and I just want to know what you guys think about this. So, like, my cousins went to the Capitol. Like, my actual family that like I used to see every single year for Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
They do mission trips to Haiti every year. They have a house in Haiti. They live 6 months in Haiti and 6 months here in Illinois in the States. And they went to the Capitol.
Did they have their phones on them?
Yes.
They're going to get arrested.
They're gonna get
No,
arrested.
but look, check this out though. They told a very, very, very different story than everything you're seeing on TV.
I'm sure.
But like,
Of course they did.
no. But it's not the fact that like it's just like a story. Like I'm saying, like what they said and like what they saw just makes it seem so like fabricated. Like, and don't get me wrong, not everything. Like here, let me just tell you in short. This is basically what they said.
Yeah, before I
So,
start to get heated
yeah.
over here.
No, just relax. Like, and like, see, this is the thing. Like, obviously, like, I'm gonna believe what they say, but this is the thing. I want you to know.
Are these
I'm
white
not-
people?
Yes. I want you to know I'm not just believing what they say because of my family.
Are they hardcore Trumpers?
No, not necessarily. Like they're extremely religious. Like I said, dude, they do mission trips to Haiti every year and live there for 6 months. They teach classes in Haiti. Like
That
teach
doesn't mean
English.
Okay, I get
anything
it.
to
I
me.
get the
Okay,
character
Your
background,
Honor.
but
Okay.
tell me what they said, and
So-
then tell me what they did.
They got there.
Uh-huh.
And do you guys know any type of like timeline when stuff was going down? Like all I know is they got there and they like walked around the Capitol and they said that the Capitol Police were literally like directing people like where to go.
Yes, that was a next huge issue that
So,
I wanted
like-
to start talking about.
Okay, because it will lead into that. So they said the Capitol Police were literally directing people where to go, and they were letting people walk all the way up to the actual building and like stand around the building.
Yes.
And they had like stuff sectioned off, and it was like, all right, like, you know, come stand here, and they let them in the building itself. And it was like remember, I don't know, like, did you go to DC when we were in 8th grade?
No.
Okay,
I've
so
been
like
there.
all right,
I
so
have been there,
Donley,
yes.
you went to DC?
I've been to DC. I just did not go when
Okay,
we were in 8th
well,
grade.
basically what my cousins made it seem like, they said that the Capitol Police were literally letting people inside like it was like museum tours. Like
Yeah.
they were like walking people around saying, okay, like this is this room, like check this out, like you can go in here, like just don't do anything. But then my cousin said that there was definitely other groups of people that were doing like fucked up rowdy ass shit.
Yes.
But like the majority of the people, I feel like were just there. Like basically, put it this way.
So
in
basically, from what I understand,
Yes.
the Capitol Police, in my opinion,
Yeah.
the police force acted slowly and poorly for whatever reason, I don't know. But once shit started to actually hit the fan,
Yeah.
they needed to figure out who was there maliciously and who was there just to be there.
But see, and that's the issue though, is I feel like the media. So put it this way: say, and just to simplify this, say there's 12 groups of people.
I'm not talking about media anything. Like I don't like this media spin because I don't I don't know what you consider media. Everything's media, but
exactly.
media is footage. I watch footage and
but
videos
that's
and
what I'm
photos.
saying. But that's what I'm saying. Like, let me finish.
Like
What I'm saying is that say there's 12 people or like 12 groups of people, and out of these 12 groups of people, say that 6 of the groups are there because they believe that Donald Trump was, you know, wrongly beaten in this election, whatever, regardless of whether or not it's true.
That's what
They
believe.
think
That's what they believe.
Yeah, they believe that he was wrongly, you know, stripped of his presidential title. Okay, so they go there because he says, you know, come to the Capitol, protest, you know, be peaceful, but come to the Capitol. So they go because they're Trump supporters, and they're like, yeah, like we're gonna go like support our president. So they go, they're just bullshitting around, seeing the sights, like there to be a part of the group. Now, say there's another group, 6 groups of people that are like hardcore. They're like, oh, like he got robbed. Like, I can't believe this. We're going to overthrow the government. Like, we're going armed. We're going to kill people. Like, they're going to fuck shit up.
Yeah.
Now, what I talk about when I say the media, I'm saying that I feel like the media, if anything, it's just like with police coverage. They only showed all the people that were there with malicious intent. They weren't showing anyone who was just there to be there. So it's like all you're going to see if you look up stuff online or if you look at these photos, these videos, the footage that you're talking about is all the bad people. It goes hand in hand with police officers. You only see the bad videos
in this situation,
of cops
though,
and the bad videos of everything online.
Especially in this situation, very specifically, the
Yes.
good people don't matter. Those poor fucking bastards were stupid enough to follow their cult leader, and if they were actually just good morons, they don't matter in the situation. What matters
but why
is
is
getting
that?
the coverage on the malicious people that legitimately tried to overthrow the government.
It doesn't matter.
Every single one of them should be tried for treason and jailed. Period.
It
Okay,
doesn't,
but
it doesn't matter though.
I don't disagree with that. But all I'm saying is that you can't.
The morons don't matter anymore.
It's funny to listen to people like not just you, but like one of my favorite things about this has been listening to fucking especially conservatives flip
This has
flop.
gone way too far to be placating and giving into these people.
I'm not placating at all. I'm saying what's funny is listening to people flip flop their arguments about stuff because the left would have given you that exact same, or excuse me, the right would have given you that exact same argument about police officers.
Yeah.
So you're going, not all cops are bad. We should blah 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 blah. Why are we dismissing the wrongs of the wrongs for the people that were either A, following along, or B, willfully ignorant to what was bad about what they were doing?
But see, that's the thing.
quote,
I'm not
the quote,
dismissing.
caught up in the
we
moment
go.
people,
But
right?
see, that's the thing. I'm not dismissing the people that did do wrong. The people that did do wrong, like that's.
Hey, but the issue
that's
is,
But
fucked.
it's the same
what
thing.
you-
Like
what-
if you rob a bank, right?
Yeah.
And then one of the people that you rob the bank with murders somebody,
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna be accessory to murder, even though you didn't murder them. And you were saying, "Well, I was just there to rob the bank. I didn't want to kill anybody." That guy killed. You're still at fault for what happened. So that is the issue. Is that people being there in general, they're at fault for what happened.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. This goes straight into my other question, mainly for you guys. How similar or dissimilar, how do you compare this to all the Black Lives Matter protests / riots that happened months ago?
Very different to me.
Okay, how so?
I think that, well, first and foremost, this wasn't a protest.
Right.
So right there, they're different because
But like was
protest-
the breaking in, entering, and like all the shit in like on Michigan Ave and like all the fucking
Yeah.
shit that got destroyed, was that protesting or was that just rioting?
that's protesting. That to me is violent protest. This was attempted insurrection.
exactly.
But see, here's the thing. The only reason that is because where it happened.
Right. it happened-
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Right.
I'm saying, what if Black Lives Matter and the violent Black Lives Matter protesters, what if they went to the Capitol?
They would have
Then
been
I
gunned-
would be
they would have
saying
been-
the same thing. They would have been gunned down
They would
like
have been
animals.
gunned down
But
because they were black. which is the
Exactly.
thing.
It's fucked up.
I mean, it's just truth though. Like that's the issue. Is like the
That's
only reason we
the
got to where we
issue.
got. Imagine if the group of how
They
many,
didn't do that because they couldn't, because they would have been murdered.
How many people did they say were there? Like at the Stop the Steal, like not in the Capitol, but like who attended DC? 30,000 or something like that.
I don't know.
It was like thousands of people that
Yes.
went, right?
But here's
there
my
was
only
thousands
thing.
of
I
black
just don't
people
understand
there-
why they didn't. Like, why if Black Lives Matter
Because
wanted
the
to
cops-
protest anything, why didn't they go to the place that it actually mattered at?
There were protests in DC.
No, but like why
They just didn't storm the Capitol building
I'm
and try to
saying
fucking hang the vice president speaker.
is if they wanted this is my big thing. If they wanted true change, why didn't they go to the place where it happens?
They did.
No. Just hear me out.
Why didn't they storm the Capitol?
Just check this out.
Because
Already,
they're not that
saying, though?
stupid.
I don't understand what you're saying.
What
are you saying?
What I'm saying is already from what has happened, there will be repercussions and it will be in the history books forever.
Negatively.
But regardless, though, like it's like they say, it's like negative feedback is like just as good as positive feedback when it comes to like exposure wise.
Yeah.
So it's like if they wanted,
there's no such thing as bad press or whatever.
Yeah. That's like what I'm trying to say. But all I'm trying to say, and I'm not saying that I agree with what happened, but what I'm saying is that if Black Lives Matter or any of these people that were standing against, like, you know, they wanted police reform and to defund the police, if they wanted to make a big change fast, you would have done what all these people did in the fucking Capitol.
Do you want to know historically?
Like,
this is a
that's
fun
all
fact.
I'm saying. Like,
Do you know what one of the largest driving events to gun reform is in the history of the United States?
what?
Black Panther armed sit-ins.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the only things that has actually catapulted gun reform into the front of like all of America, like white America's minds, is when a bunch of black people did a legal armed sit-in
I'm sure.
at I don't remember where that was. It wasn't in DC. It was like at the California State Capitol or something like that. Like it was scheduled. They got the permits, all that, did just all the right stuff or whatever.
Right.
And that it was when they were like, whoa, 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 whoa. Like, it's not comparable because they have done that and they did protest in DC, whether it was armed or not armed. And what they didn't do is storm the Capitol building.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is that I feel like if, just put it this way, in my opinion, did anything that Black Lives Matter do, like when it came to all the coverage they got for like looting and rioting and like the shit that was going on in Chicago and all the big different
Everywhere.
cities
Yeah, all over the country.
across the country, did that actually make a difference?
It got
Yeah,
enough
it made a
people
huge
to
difference.
vote for Joe Biden and swing Georgia.
It made a huge difference too, because look at the response that Capitol America has made.
Hey, for the record, I'm actually going to turn my camera on. I'm wearing a Black Lives Matter t-shirt right now.
It made a huge difference because look at what these corporations have. Look at the stances that they've taken.
Well, but
have you ever seen? So we've been alive obviously since '95, but we've been around. We weren't able to vote. Well, Donnelly, were you? No, none of us were able to vote in 12, right? I wasn't able to vote in 12.
No, was
But
that Obama?
That would have been Obama's first term or
No.
second term.
I was. I don't.
I don't think we were. I don't think we were able. I think we were too young.
in 2008, we were only 13.
Right, so we would have been 17. So we were a year too young to vote for Obama in 12. So, but looking back historically, we've been alive for cognitive for 8, 12, 16, and now 20, right?
Right.
So that's 8, 12, 16. That's 4 election processes. And then even if you look further back than that, have you ever seen a campaign to vote like you did this year?
But this is all I'm
And
saying.
who was doing those campaigns?
I'm still just playing
Corporate
devil's
America.
advocate here, and I'm not saying that I agree or disagree, honestly, with what I'm saying. But what I'm trying to say, I guess what I'm trying to get to the root of here, is that did things actually change? And don't get me wrong, I obviously see things changed on
Things
the surface
are
level.
changing.
No. But look at this, Donnelly. This is all I mean. We all know people like this, but did things actually change because of what Black Lives Matter did? Or did things change because all these companies thought that that was the politically correct thing to do? Because in my mind, why, and this is like obvious, but why did it take what Black Lives Matter did for all these changes to come about? Like
That's
if
how
that
They
was-
started to
works.
burn down
No,
the
no.
company's shit and
But-
make them lose money.
But I'm saying if that was the correct thing to do, why weren't these companies already doing it? Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Because that's how protest works.
yes,
Somebody
but like,
isn't doing something that they should be doing, and then you point it out in whatever means you need to point it out in, and then they either choose to not do it and continue to face the backlash of the protest and whatever. This is anything, right? Protests, strikes, anything. Like when you say you're doing something wrong, we don't agree with it, we're going to protest that you're doing this thing wrong, and
No,
then
no.
that puts them at a. Let me
No,
finish.
I-
Let me
no,
finish
I
my
think
thought.
you
Let me finish my
misunderstood
thought.
me
No,
then.
I don't, because what I'm saying is that puts a company, a person, whatever, in a unique position to. It's a crossroad, right? Where you either need to continue doing what you're doing and face the backlash of the group of people that are protesting it,
Okay.
or you need to change what you're doing to basically adhere to the protest,
Right.
right? So that's how protests work. That's
Okay.
the fundamental. So what these people did, right? There was no change that they were not actively able to change something that at all. They were saying this election was stolen and it wasn't. And so then they were saying you need to overthrow a free and fair election, which is not how democracy works, which makes it inherently not a protest and an insurrectionist attempt. That's
Okay.
the difference.
Okay, but that's what I was saying is like I'm not necessarily on the topic of I wanted your input on,
Yeah.
that versus that, but all I'm
And
saying
it's-
now
It's bad to even compare the two only because what one group did
Yeah.
was
Like
a
what-
movement, a civil rights movement, as we
Right.
said earlier, and what the other group did
Okay.
was armed insurgency
right, but
or just insurgency.
But going back to Black Lives Matter, this is my only question though, because in Donnelly, I want your input on this too. All I'm saying is how many people do you know that on the surface do or say the right thing because they know that's what they should do or say, but don't actually mean it? Like, this is the thing. I think it all matters on if you actually mean it or not. Like, yeah, sure, like companies can fucking do all this shit and blast all this shit out and make themselves look good, but at the end of the day, do they actually mean any of this shit?
No.
But this is the thing.
But
This
see,
is
if they
literally-
don't
this is
actually
literally-
fucking mean it, then
Look
what
at-
does
this
it
is
matter?
literally a comment on from our Twitch chat. Dude, he's referring to you.
Yes.
Is just figuring out that companies don't actually care about the right thing, just their profits.
No, I'm not just figuring
But
it
I'm
out.
saying
I'm saying
that's-
that like
that is-
if Black Lives Matter actually wanted shit to change, then like why didn't they go even bigger? Like that's
Hey,
all
They
I'm
did.
saying.
There were protests.
Here's-
There were
here's-
government protests, and it
Here's where I
did
think,
work.
Here's where I think things.
This is the first time since the 1930s that the presidency, House, and Senate have all flipped, or all that an incumbent president has lost the House, the Senate, and the presidency
Yeah,
since
but-
1932.
but-
And it's the most anybody has ever voted in the history of America.
Okay.
And it's the most that
But-
anybody's
but
ever
I have-
voted for a
but I
winning
have-
president,
I have another-
including Obama both times.
But I have another flip for that. Was that because of Black Lives Matter, or was that because it was Donald Trump?
Both.
It was both, because what Donald Trump, it's not, you can't pinpoint Black Lives Matter is the reason that more people went out and voted and everything flipped blue or everything stayed blue.
Well,
that
you
was.
could.
No, you can't, because it's not binary, because that's not how
That's a
that's not
question.
how
Is
politics
it
work.
most who voted in terms of percentage or quantity?
Quantity.
Quantity.
And all I'm saying is like to say that it wasn't effective is just incorrect. But even people saying, because this is the thing.
Here's where
when
I think it's going to be most effective. Realistically, like you said, you're not going to change anybody's mind who's older than realistically 30 years old. Once you're 30 years
Right.
old, you've made your mind up on fucking everything. But what you're going to get with stuff like this is younger people. You're not going to
Well,
have younger
right.
people grow up. You're going to have less younger people grow up into being these racist, cold-hearted, fucking evil people.
Right, and that's what I was about to say is that you're gonna get the younger generations. Like
Yes.
I get that, but I guess all I was
That's
trying to
where
say,
Black
I was
Lives
just
Matter
try-
is doing the most.
I
right
was
now.
just trying to
Like,
play
that kind
devil's
of, putting that
advocate.
kind of energy out.
okay,
So,
and I get that.
but okay, let's keep. What else is there? What else is there as far as to talk about on this topic? Because it's silly to me to even argue about what's wrong about this, but it's also very fun for me to watch people try and do the mental gymnastics that you're doing about it, because
Yeah.
like everything about this is so anti-conservative that like it's funny that you can even hear like police officers killed, right? Like rioting just in general from everything that we've seen is like so, it should just be such a clear and obvious thing to take a stance against, and like they aren't doing it.
Look,
How many people voted, or how many people objected to the election, and then how many people also voted for impeachment? It was like 10 House Republicans voted for impeachment, so that means there were still like 100 and whatever Republicans that didn't, which is fucking
170
hilarious.
something.
Yeah, 170 plus that didn't vote for it.
Yeah.
And you go like, so these people, like, they don't actually give a shit about anything, but it's all about flipping. It's all about the margin that you can fucking change. And like, this isn't going to change any margin in the right direction, obviously.
no, and I just want to put this out there for anyone in the chat or anyone who's listening. Obviously, I'm not a fucking idiot. I don't think personally, like, first of all, half the time, I have to make this disclaimer apparently, because half the time, the only reason I ask half the shit I do is to drive this conversation. So
You get me going, Charles.
I know, and I like it because I'm trying to show people why their thoughts are incorrect, one, and two, because obviously I know, like, these two things are very, very different. Like, what happened in the Capitol and what happened months ago are very, very different. People did things for a different reason. And, like, I agree with, like, what you're saying. Like, people did the Black Lives Matter movement and all the protests / riots, like, the shit that happened.
Yeah.
They did it from social unrest. Like, they did that out of the driving force behind that was to get things to change for the better. And the driving force behind what happened at the Capitol was just fucking dumb.
So, thank you. So,
That dude literally looks like Bernie.
it's so funny. And the comment on it is so funny, too, that it's that.
Joe Biden when we asked
yeah,
him
Joe
for a
Biden.
stimulus.
Yeah.
Wait, what was the comment?
The caption is Joe Biden when we ask him for a stimulus. I'm not Bernie.
But no, I completely, like, I understand and I get all of that. I just simply ask these questions to do, as I said a million times, play devil's advocate to the obvious. Like, I just want people to hear what it's like to have these ideas. Throw that away.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, I don't. I understand. I know Donnelly gets more worked up about it than I do because I do understand what you're doing to a point, but you're also you're doing the
The Korzenecki.
yeah, the Korzenecki and
Which is
and
what?
the Toth, where he goes
Yeah.
like, I don't actually believe this thing, but what do you guys think about this? And he goes, what do you guys think about the fact that Antifa was in the fucking Capitol leading the insurgency? And then
I could give a fuck.
we go, that
They
didn't,
weren't.
but they weren't, right? So
Right.
he's like, he's baiting us into being like, what do you guys think about the fact that this happened?
Well,
And then
basically,
we
'cause
go, it
it's
didn't
like-
happen, but he's like, well, I want your thoughts on. It's like, that's his way, and this is your way of being like, I see it, like I see the other side of the argument. And here's the thing, I see the other side of the argument too, because
it's not even
I'm-
so much that. It's just more of like,
Because-
I want your explanation on why people who think that way are thinking incorrectly.
Right.
And that's the
And-
easiest
and
way
it's-
to
I
get
think-
you to
right,
explain
right.
that.
And here, let me talk about this really quick, because I personally I'm much more Malcolm X than Martin Luther King.
Okay.
Right? So like, I am all for violence and means of change.
Mm-hmm.
I'm throw bricks in the windows, burn buildings down, like beat the shit out of people that disagree with you. That is, unfortunately, for whatever reason, that is my personality, right? Like, if
That's
somebody
fucking
shows
wild.
if somebody shows up with a swastika or like whatever, or they're preaching like
Beat 'em the fuck
I
down.
would just beat the shit out of the guy,
Fuck
and
yeah.
then their consequence has been served.
Beat
and
'em the
served,
fuck
right.
down.
That's just how I am. So I see it in terms of, okay, I understand. Like, I get it. I get being violently angry. But that's not the issue. And I'm not even saying I don't fault the people that were there, because I do, because they're idiots, but like, or mentally ill or whatever. But that is where the fault lies on the person instigating it,
Right.
which is Trump, which is why he needs to be impeached, so he can't do this again, even if he's out of office Wednesday, right? Wednesday's his last day. So like, that's where I stand on it. Is I understand both the value and I understand why people get violent, because I'm not dense, right? But I see the issue is that These people got violent because they were misled by one person and his cronies, essentially. And those people need to be punished, and the people who were dumb enough to follow him also need to be punished. It's the exact same thing. It is so hilariously Germany-esque that it's like wild, right? They say a third of Germany agreed with Hitler, a third did not, and those people were prosecuted or persecuted, whatever the fuck the term, persecuted, and then a third just stayed silent.
Right.
So the third that agreed and were misled by Hitler are at fault for falling for
But
it.
see,
for it
this is my
because
question.
they were on they're wrong.
Would you also consider the people that stayed silent in the wrong as well? Because the way I look at it, like the way
It depends.
the way you take things, it's like if the group that stayed silent, like you say, stayed silent, they're technically in the wrong because they didn't speak out for the right.
It depends. Because
But what does it depend on?
It depends on the type of silence,
Because
which sounds funny, but
that's like a double standard almost
kind
on
of,
your part.
kind of.
Because
but
you're saying
you
like the people that went to the Capitol just to go and just bullshit around,
but
they're
people didn't-
automatically in the wrong and like guilty by
Right, but
association.
they shouldn't
so
have-
aren't the
but
people
they-
who
those
are
are the people
in
I'm
the
talking about.
silent?
They're not
also-
silent. They were there.
I'm not
They should
right.
not
I'm
have
not talking
fucking
about
been
those
there.
people. Those people are in the wrong. I'm saying the people that sit at home
Okay.
and agree with it, or that sit at home and agree with it but don't act,
Okay.
are also in the wrong. But unfortunately, we don't have that means to flesh that out any further, right? Like I know people who are very much I know very, very conservative people that the first thing that they talked about was the fact that lady got fucking
Shot in the face.
shot the fuck down,
Well,
trying
in the
to,
neck.
which is, it's important to consider. She was climbing over barriers in an attempt to get into the speaker's fucking,
Right.
so a Capitol guardsman or a Secret Service or whoever it was gunned her the fuck down, right?
Yeah.
And so I know people who are very, very pro, like Blue Lives Matter type, anti-riot, like saying that lady was murdered, assassinated, blah, 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 whatever term you want to use,
Right.
and made no mention of the cops that were beaten to death. Right? I
Exactly.
think 2 police officers were killed in when what happened.
It's pretty goofy.
So like, it's just very.
I'm so and that's where I'm at. This is the last thing I'm gonna say about this fucking shit. I'm so fucking sick of the double standards.
Yeah.
I'm sick of the bullshit. I'm sick of the lies. If these people would just come clean and say, "Hey, we're bad people. We're evil. I'm rolling with it now." Like it's 2021. We're done. Like, hey, we're done. We're done with the facade. Fuck it. We hate everybody that's not like us. Fuck you to hell. It's on. And then good. Like, fuck these people. Everyone that went to the Capitol should be arrested and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Every single police officer, member of the National Guard, member of the Army, anybody serving, I put in this in air quotes, serving this country that participated in any way should be locked up for the fullest extent of any law that they violated.
Now,
It's fucking ridiculous.
where do you think ignorance has a place in any of this? Like,
It's
a lot,
I'm
big part
so
of it.
far past the acceptance of ignorance.
I think it's
with the
right.
information
Yeah,
age
yeah.
that we live in, I'm done with that excuse.
Ignorance, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, is not a justifiable excuse for legally. If you break the law but you're ignorant that the law exists, that is not a defense.
It's like that old Chris Rock. Is it a Chris Rock or a Chappelle joke? Like he said, "Oh, I'm sorry, officer. I didn't know I could do that." Like, and it's an old comedy sketch, but like, it's like all of these people that are like Blue Lives Matter, this and that go break the fucking law and cause an insurrection against the country. They're like, "Oh, I didn't know I could do it." Fuck you.
I like the I got caught in the heat of the moment people too.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, you were there. You fucking spent all the time going there. You brought fucking, a lot of them often brought weapons, body armor, blah, 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 all that shit.
Thank
and they go,
you.
I got
Chappelle
caught in the
was.
fucking heat of the moment. It's like, you fucking put yourself, you were in the heat from the minute you fucking decided to go. You bought
Yeah.
a plane ticket. What? I gotta piss.
all right.
Keep talking. Go to the next topic. We're probably close to being
Yeah, I don't know if there is a next topic, but
There's gotta be more to talk. We haven't really talked about what we think should happen to Trump.
okay, we can talk about that. I mean, I think Trump should. I just said what I think should happen to Trump.
Yeah,
He
he
should
should
be
get impeached.
persecuted to the fullest extent of the law. I mean, he's already been impeached. I hope he gets voted to be
I mean, I think he's gonna get fucked. I
like
think the law is just gonna fuck him so hard.
yeah,
dude.
that's it. That's
like hard.
I don't know any legal terms. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know anything about shit. I don't know shit about dick, is what I like to say. But I hope Trump gets bent over by the long dick of the law.
It'll probably happen.
It would make me so happy.
I bet. I don't know, dude. Like, I just.
Him and Giuliani, too.
Well, dude, I just read today actually that the New York the bar, they stripped him of his fucking lawyer.
No shit.
Yeah, he got stripped. Google that shit. I read that today. Yeah, dude, look this shit up here.
Giuliani faces expulsion.
Yeah. from
January
New York
11th,
State Bar.
2021.
Yeah, look at that shit.
He's considering.
Oh, so well, I mean,
Called for trial by combat. I mean, he did do that.
yeah.
President did not act alone.
The New York bar is considering stripping Giuliani
Like, vocally.
vocally.
Like, it's not, it's like, it was
not
a rumor.
actually stripping him.
But, like, it was a rumor until today that they were going to do it, and now that apparently they have made a statement that they're thinking about it.
Oh,
That
okay,
they're-
okay.
That they are thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. We believe the last time we removed a member who has been disbarred was 1904. Who hadn't been disbarred was 1904. Provide Giuliano with due process, including the chance to defend his actions.
That's how they do it. Everybody that gets disbarred gets a trial.
Okay, so it's happening then. Nice.
Cool.
Good.
He should get disbarred. Trump should get impeached. I think they should prosecute. Definitely. Funny enough, the only people that probably are going to be able to avoid prosecution and all this thing, I think, in the long run, are probably Ivanka and Jared.
What
But
about
I think Eric and
what-
Aaron and Donald Trump Jr. Wait, he's Donald Trump Jr. What's his son? Don the third,
Don Jr.?
whatever. His son that has his name.
The goofy fucking
Yeah,
looking
yeah.
guy.
I think they're both going to get prosecuted. I think that
Why would his kids and shit?
they were there. They were at the
Insurrection.
whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
No, like they weren't actually at the Capitol. They were at the event that they were hosting before, where they were like, go over there and.
Where do you
take
think Pence stands in all this?
I mean,
See, I think Pence is just a big fucking pussy.
me too. Like that's the thing. Pence was. I mean, unfortunately, I'm not trying to bail Pence out for all the bad shit he's done, but like he was
Exactly.
actually actively attempting to
target.
do the right thing here.
For
like
once.
he was holding up the
But-
fucking election.
But
He
this
was
is
saying-
exactly how I feel. Like,
Right.
with Pence, like, Pence doesn't get the pass either. For all the evil shit that he's continuously done throughout the years, like, the one time that he does the right thing because there's people that are gonna fucking hang him in the streets, like,
What
fuck him,
evil
dude.
shit has he done?
Everything.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to go into. You should look into it. Look what he did was as Indiana's governor.
Oh, okay.
But
He's just a
and
horrible,
just as the vice
horrible
president. But,
person.
I mean, he's also he got wise. A lot of the actual like not dummies that are elected officials, including McConnell, and they got wise, right? And they said we could really, really fuck this up long term,
Exactly.
and we need to like hemorrhage the bleeding, or
Yeah.
we need to
No, not hemorrhage.
They need to cut off the
We
fucking-
need to fucking we need to cauterize the
Amputate.
wound, right? Yeah. And so they're trying to distance themselves from it because guess what? Right now, if the 2024 election were to happen tomorrow, guess who would be the Republican nominee?
Trump.
Pence.
Pence would be.
Yeah.
What do you
so
mean?
like Pence is going to be the 2024 nominee unless something dramatic changes, because I don't think that Trump is going to get the backing that he needs.
No, Trump is done.
Yeah, even if he doesn't get impeached, I don't think he's going to get
No,
the
dude.
backing he
No
needs.
one would put him up.
right.
at
And
all.
so I think that Pence is looking at his future here and saying, well, fuck, if I want to have an attempt to, sit in the Oval Office for real, I got to fucking do the right thing here for myself, which selfish intentions, doing the right thing, doesn't really, it's not exactly honorable, but like it's still doing the right thing at the end, I guess. So kudos, but Yeah.
Still fuck
And then
him.
I think Trump's going to get impeached. Giuliani should be disbarred. I think that at least a handful of these Republican senators and congressmen are going to probably either be forced to resign or get expelled or so. Like, it's going to be, I think this is going to be big. And I think the only reason it isn't already is it's going to be a few more days before the blue wave officially starts.
From what I'm reading, like, the FBI is just, like, lubing their dildos and putting their strap-ons on.
So
Yeah.
let's try to wrap this up here. I want
Yeah,
to
we
close
can be
this
done.
out with some COVID talks.
Oh, shit. Okay.
So going into Biden taking office here in the next, we got 2 days, right?
Yeah.
Today's the 18th.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting more checks, right? What's the deal? Let's talk about something positive
No, he's
here.
not Bernie.
So no, but it's already been. I thought it's already been announced a couple times.
He's committed to another 1,400
to
to make
to
the
round
total
out
six-
that
yeah,
that
16.
2,000
Mhm.
that Trump was talking about.
Right.
That's a great picture, by the way.
I love
So
it.
But
funny.
So good.
but what do you think?
I'm just going to browse here, see if I see anything
2021.
that we're talking about now.
For sure. What do you think 2021 has in store for Biden and COVID going forward in the United States?
Well, I think the number one thing to keep an eye on is how they alter the vaccine rollout.
Right.
And I mean, it would be hard to do a worse job. So it's not exactly a high bar to set to say that he's going to do better, but I think you're going to see an uptick in the supply chain distribution quickly. Like, quickly enough to where I think that any of us in this room will probably be able to get a vaccine this summer.
I'd like to get it as soon as possible.
Yeah. I think that's probably going to be the trend. And, like, the current pace we're on, I think, well, the pace as of the last time I saw, which was right around Christmas time, was that it would take until 2030 to have a successful vaccine rollout.
Do you think Biden will make the vaccine mandatory?
I don't think he can, but I think that there's going to be there's going to be a broad, they're going to sweep in they're going to paint broad strokes here in the sense that, like, if you want to really do anything, you're going to need it, I think.
So
And
like
the
what? Like
big issue,
if you want to fly, if you
What
want
if
to
you
cross
can't
state
get it?
lines,
go to a sports
like,
game, go to a live concert, if
What
you
if you
want to
can't
work
get
for the
it?
government, what if you can't, like Meyer?
Yeah.
There
Well, don't
there are
throw his
so
fucking name out of the. I mean,
I
it's
mean,
too late now.
whatever. He doesn't care. Contrary to popular belief, there are actual medical, like, exceptions to anything, right?
Mhm.
So I think that there's obviously going to be exceptions to the rule, but that's how herd immunity works. Not everybody has to be vaccinated. Only a certain percent or whatever has to be. And then it keeps the people safe that, the big issue is they still aren't exactly sure how long the vaccine is actually going to, like, keep you protected for, right? Am I right there, Dons? Do you know?
I don't know.
So, like, it sounds like they have, like, it's a 3-month window that they have to get, like, everybody vaccinated, or else it's just not going to work. I feel like. Is that
well,
not true?
I feel like that's already like failed. Like,
well,
hasn't it? Like,
no, because
the vaccine's already been out for almost fucking 2 months.
yeah, it's
And I
not
feel
gonna.
like-
The vaccine right now is like the preliminary rollout is like to keep people protected that are, like, at risk, elderly, healthcare workers,
People on
yada
the
yada
front
yada.
lines.
Yeah, front lines. Like, those people were supposed to be like, if we can get this to you, we can at least offer you a buffer while we try to figure this shit out.
Yeah.
I think you're gonna see. I'm telling you, you're gonna see an uptick in, like, it's not gonna be long before you can walk into CVS and get one.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
Like walking to Walgreens.
it's gonna be pretty fucking soon. I
gonna-
think. Like,
it's gonna be like
soon,
a flu
soon in
shot.
terms of, like, how the government works. Like, I'm thinking like 6 months, maybe even by next Christmas. Like, everybody's gonna be able to get one of these fucking things.
Yeah.
And then it's gonna go, because this is how it's gonna go. It's gonna be how long until your employer requires you to have one? How long until every college in the country requires you to have one?
Well, that's what I
high
was gonna
school,
say.
elementary school. Like, it's gonna be one of those things where it's gonna be really, really fucking hard to not have one, just like a fucking measles vaccine.
Right.
Like, it's
gonna
gonna
be
be
like a
just
flu
like
shot.
that.
It's gonna be like requiring
No,
like
I
had to
like the
get-
flu shot though,
well-
because the flu shot's not even close to required.
Well, not necessarily like the flu shot,
measles, polio,
Yeah.
chickenpox, like those
but
ones.
like the big shots. Like when I went to college,
Yes.
like you have to have your shots,
Like
or else
that.
like you
It's
can't
gonna-
come on a campus.
It's gonna be like that, yes.
Yeah.
and that's gonna happen quickly. The question, I think that's a no-brainer that's gonna ramp up. The big question is what they're gonna do about if they're gonna impose a lockdown, and if they do,
I
how
think they will.
I mean,
I've heard there was talks of Biden saying a 2-week full lockdown,
2 weeks won't work.
14 days.
It's probably got to be 6.
6.
I think 6 is like
We were talking about this before in the chat though, like if you did 6, like you said you're all for 6, but
Fuck yeah.
there'd need to be relief.
Yeah, there has to be cash. There has to be
100%.
cash relief.
Or else
There has to be
people
cash
couldn't
relief
do
to individuals and businesses, and I'm talking actual small businesses that need the money.
Yeah.
Because people have to be. It's opportunity cost, right? We're talking economics here. You go, okay, I have to close my doors, right? So that's what's going on right now in this area, or just I think all over the country, but especially right here, right?
Right.
Franchises, it's a no-brainer, right? They go, well, we have to be closed. We're closed. Like Buffalo Wild Wings, you can't go in there and sit down. Can't go to Chili's. Can't go to fucking Hooter, whatever. But like the mom and pop places are going. So let me be clear here. My options are close, go out of business, and not have my source of income anymore, or be open, risk the chance of maybe being closed by the health department or whatever, but at least I have an opportunity to make my money and stay open and have my source of income. That's the opportunity cost. You're picking A or B there as a business owner. And then you go, okay, well, if the third option is stay closed, but you have cash relief to stay closed and keep your business operational, that will be the choice,
Exactly.
right? So that's a no-brainer. It has to happen if it's going to work. If it doesn't happen, it's not going to work.
Well,
It's a simple. I mean, we're technically in lockdown right now. Like
it doesn't feel like it.
It doesn't feel like it at all.
Doesn't seem like
Not
it.
at all. I mean, yeah, we're not, but we are, right?
Like
it's all suggestive and blah blah blah, whatever, right?
Like technically, so like I was talking about this with some coworkers, like at my place of business, like so technically you're supposed to get paid if you get COVID and you have to stay home. But like how it works with a lot of places, from what I've read, from what I've researched, basically what employers are doing, they're like, okay, so like if you come into contact with someone with COVID, you have to go get a test, get your results, and during that time, they do not have to pay you. You can use your vacation days.
Right.
But then once you get your actual test results, if you come back positive, from that day you come back positive for your 14-day quarantine, they are supposed to pay you. Like they're legally required, and that's in air quotes, they're legally required to pay you your regular, wage for that time until you come back. Well, like my employer does not pay their employees when they are out if they get COVID.
Either.
But see, here's the thing, and I feel like that's very dangerous because it's like we're sitting around talking. That doesn't incentivize you to come forward if you either A, have COVID, B, come in contact with COVID, or C, are scared at all about possibly carrying COVID.
You want to hear my testimonial on it?
So it's just like,
I'll tell you exactly what happened with me.
If I were to get COVID and say I was feeling like fine, and I was like, oh fuck, like I tested positive, but like I feel fine, like I need income.
Well, no, you would just go, I went and got a test, but I don't have the results back.
Yeah, but
or let me tell you what happened to me.
Okay.
Because
go ahead.
It's pertinent to this topic,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so I got COVID right around the 1st of November. I got a test for COVID on the 5th of November, and I tested negative. I got a rapid test, and I tested negative, and I had a bunch of symptoms and whatnot. And my work was like, if you test negative, you have to come to work.
Yeah.
Right? I went to fucking work. I went to work every day. I gave 2 people at work COVID.
Did you really?
Yeah. Yeah. I went to work with a negative test, and it was either go to work or don't have money.
Right.
And so I went to work, and sure enough, I was like, man, the headache, I couldn't kick it, all this shit. And I went and got another, or then actually, funny enough, what happened is somebody else that I live with got COVID.
Right.
Not from me, though. And then it was like, hey, we have a case in the house. I have to.
So you had to get another test.
I have to get another test, yeah, but I need to be in quarantine now because I'm like actually directly exposed to it at all times or whatever. And so then I got another test and tested positive, but I had already had COVID and I gave it to 2 people at work. And then instead of me being out and them just paying me to be at home or whatever, I had to I gave it to 2 people. So then 3 of us were out of the office. And then also then at the end, right? Like we were just talking about how they're legally required to, that's bullshit, by the way.
Right.
That is such bullshit.
It is
it's so
bullshit.
funny because I called my, my boss, basically, not my on-site boss, but like basically like think like my HR boss, right? And I go like, hey man, like I need to be reimbursed for the sick days I had to take. And he was literally basically just like, no.
Yeah. Because like, what are you gonna do?
Because the way it works, I don't know how it works at your job, but like basically the only way that they keep paying you is that if you're not already offered PTO.
Right.
So like I get PTO.
Okay.
So I just had to use my PTO to get
Exactly.
but like my dad, for example, who's in a union, he doesn't, excuse me, sorry, I'm drinking beer, so I have the burps, but my dad who, doesn't get PTO, if he were to get COVID, hypothetically, he would have to get paid by his employer for 14 days.
Right.
It doesn't apply to me. So I was fucked left or right.
Yeah. It's crazy.
And the funniest part, not funny, morbidly funny, is like my job could have just be done at home.
Oh, Emerson, what's up? Do you remember him?
Yeah,
Oh,
what's up, Emerson?
Emerson.
That's the craziest
What a
part is
guy.
like I could just do my job at home and my company is just like, no.
Yeah.
Like just come to work every day.
Come to the office sick.
Yeah,
It's fine.
and it's literally, it's like, thank God, right? Like, A, thank God I was fine. B, thank God the people that got it were also fine. But like, I'm just saying,
it's a joke.
the situation is not great for anybody.
No.
And so it's like, okay, well,
Unreal.
what the fuck is what's the solution here? And the solution is very easy. It's been seen in other countries. Pay people to stay home. It is the only option. When given the opportunity to sit at home and not make any money and potentially lose your house, lose your fucking, to have the power turned off, the water turned off, not have food in the fucking fridge, or risk it to go to work, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. People are going to go the fuck to work.
It's stupid, dude.
So
It just doesn't
we
make
can leave it
sense.
there, I guess. Do you want to talk
Yeah.
about the NFL really quick?
Yeah, sure. We can
I just
clo-
would like
we
to
can close
say
out on the NFL.
the videos aren't on YouTube, but they are on Twitch. I was pretty fucking spot on with my first round
yeah,
predictions.
dude. You were.
I don't think we can get away with watching the NFL clips.
No, we
No.
shouldn't watch the NFL clips. Could you pull the bracket up really quick though? Just type in like NFL
the
playoff
only
bracket.
thing that I'm still intact with is the Buccaneers.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, because remember when we were talking, so first of all, I called the Steelers being upset.
Yeah.
That was the big one. And then I said Ravens would beat the Titans. I picked the Bills to be in the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
And then I said on this side, I think the Bucks will be the only low seed to win the first round. So
Yep.
then Saints won. But the only thing I was wrong on was the Rams.
I was wrong, and wrong. Just to put it out there, I had the Browns beating the Chiefs. Obviously, that didn't happen. I had the Ravens beating the Bills. Obviously, that definitely didn't happen. And then
Yeah.
right side, I did pretty good. I had the Packers beat. Yeah. So my right side of the bracket's intact, but my left side was trash.
So if there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 6 first round games, I went 5 of 6. And then in the second round, it would have been 3 of 4 because I would have called the Saints beating the Bucks.
Okay.
So pretty good.
Yeah.
Too bad I didn't put some money on it.
Yeah.
So you got now?
I got Bucks over the Packers. I got Chiefs. Well, it depends. If
Mahomes is playing.
Mahomes
He's playing.
but
He's playing.
I understand he's going to be playing, but if he can actually bounce back,
He'll be fine.
If he'll be 100%, then I got the Chiefs beating the Bills, and then I honestly have
You said the Bucks.
the Bucks winning the Super Bowl.
All right, I'm the exact opposite. I have the Packers, Bills.
I
and
want Tom Brady to win without Belichick.
I have the Packers, Bills, Super Bowl, and then once I see the games, I'll pick my Super Bowl prediction. If it is Packers, Bills, I think I'd probably go with the Packers, but it's going to be a fucking hell of a game.
What if it's Chiefs Buccaneers?
Chiefs.
Yeah, see, like Mahomes is just too good. Like he's just. Too
I think the Bills.
explosive.
I think that the Bills can beat the Chiefs.
You want to
think
bet
so?
on the Bills, Gears? I'll make a bet that the Bills beat the Packers in the Super Bowl.
All right, Bills
Well,
Mafia
wait.
in
Let's
there.
see.
Calm down.
Let's see if they make it first. So I'm gonna pick. My pick is gonna be Bills Packers, and then we'll do one more. Or actually, we'll do 2 more pods before the Super Bowl too, hypothetically.
If the Bills go to the Super Bowl, Donnelly, you have to jump on a table.
If they win the Super, wait,
no. If they go to the Super Bowl,
I have to
We should
jump on a
cut this.
table.
you gotta you gotta
Our viewers have
jump on a
definitely
table.
dwindled. But so yeah, Bills, Packers. I'll see everybody next week. Follow.
Yeah.
Twitter, Instagram, Twitch for sure. I think we finally hit 50 followers.
We
so
did.
We did.
We're gonna
Let's
fill out that
go.
affiliate application.
Sorry about the format this week. We're gonna try to get it figured out for next week. It may or may not happen, but hey, if not,
It seemed chill.
we'll figure it out going forward.
We still were in double digits there for a little while.
We're
So
decent. Hey, it
Thanks,
is what it
everybody.
is.
yeah, thanks everybody.
Thanks for rocking with us.
See everybody next Monday, hopefully.